Welcome back. I'm here with Jon Barrie for a conversation, former U.S. Senate candidate. We were talking about the federal government, the presidency, and executive power. I think that's where we left it off. We'll leave it at that right now.
Sure.
And I know we covered a little bit, since we don't have that much time, about the Constitution Party. Um, last night we saw that Eric Cantor lost his majority position there. Um, I know it was the gentleman that defeated him, Mr. Brad, is an economics professor. And he was talking about, he said, free market and things like that. And I know there was a little bit of a Tea Party support there and stuff. What is your opinion of the Tea Party? What do you think
The
about?
Tea Party has great philosophies, limited government, lower taxes, the things that we all should be interested in.
What do you agree with them on?
Those two things are the major things.
Okay.
Because we need individuals to realize that our government, as it exceeded its constitutional limits in all areas. The Tea Party says, hey, let's get people elected who are conservative, if you want to use that word. Let's get people elected to that who will try to get us back on an economic footing. We you know what fiat money is, of course, and we keep printing this. Here we have an economics professor. He realizes that we cannot continue to do this. The United States is going to implode by virtue of the debt. I don't know the exact statistics, but at one time, every man, woman, and child in the United States was in debt $75,000.
Oh, currently we're about 35 to 40 grand, something like that.
I don't remember.
That's what
The 35 per individual?
Correct, yes.
I think it's more than that.
It's a lot more than that now.
I think
There
it's
was a few-
75. But it's still ridiculous,
Yes.
to have that
Do
kind
you
of
think
debt.
we're ever going to pay this debt off?
It's impossible.
So how do we-
It is literally impossible. What you have to do is put a halt on the growth of the government, put a halt on things, lower our spending, and say, hey, this debt's going to be our debt, but let's quit adding to it. That's what the Tea Party is saying. Taxed enough already.
Correct, yeah. So now their idea is to cut back?
Yes.
Am I understanding it right?
Yes.
They would like, it's like, so for defense budget, should we cut back on the defense budget? Then where do we stand as
We
far
need
as
the
the government?
defense budget to be used properly. We can't cut back on defense.
Correct.
That's.
But certain expenditures, you're saying
Well,
we
if
gotta
you've
cut
ever
back.
been to the Pentagon and just walk around there, you'll see a lot of waste and waste and waste. Just walking through that building and seeing the generals and colonels and look at that overhead. And you
So
look
where
at
do
how
we
they spend.
where do we cut back on the defense? I mean,
Well, here's the idea, really. If you
How do
want
we-
a simple answer,
Okay.
you cut back all government agencies 25% per year, starting right away. And
That's a huge cut.
The first, they wouldn't notice a thing. I've been a government employee. I worked for Federal Aviation Administration. You could cut 25%. They wouldn't know a thing. Now, the second year and the third year, then they would notice some things. But
But the economy will get affected, though, because we're directly integrated with the defense and the way the contractors work and everything else. All these millions of jobs
some of
out
those
there.
things the public sector would take over and do better, properly, and more efficiently, and still do that. So when you talk about things like Department of Education, trillions of dollars we're spending on education. I remember when I ran for Senate, I used this. I said, when the Department of Education started, they said, oh, we're not testing good in the world. Our students aren't. We're number 5 and 6 in the world. We need to do better than that. Well, here we are 30-some years later, and now we're 30 and 40 testing. So we've spent all that money.
We're extremely low
and going
in
the wrong
comparison,
direction.
yeah.
And look at New Mexico. So all that money hasn't accomplished anything. See, New Mexico, they know how to teach their children and what to teach them. Same with the other states. And all this money they're throwing at it and the controls, Common Core, I'm really against that.
Nationally, why do you think nationally we're so low compared to other countries? What is your assessment of that?
I believe that it's poor management, poor administration, and use of that. That's my personal opinion. We have a high administrative level, and we need to get those people back in the classroom. We have some of the most wonderful teachers in New Mexico you've ever met. I've met hundreds of them. They are great, and they want to teach.
So it's
but
not the teachers, a systemic
It
problem.
is. It is. That's correct. It is absolutely not the teachers. Absolutely. Anybody tells you it is, and all this testing, so on, they're totally wrong. It's the curriculum and the administration, not the teachers. Absolutely
The Bush
not.
administration had the early childhood program.
Yes.
All the
No Child Left Behind.
No Child Left Behind.
And there's been so many of those programs. They just throw money at it, and guess what? The results are terrible.
And this is your feeling is because of the system, like we said
I'll give you
earlier.
an
It's not.
example.
Yeah.
Homeschooling. Homeschooled children test 10 times higher than than graduates of high school and so on. I had a niece who finished homeschooling.
My kids were homeschooled.
Yes,
Yeah.
they go to college. My niece said she was her first year of college. She says, I know all this. And in fact, she tested out of half the classes in her first year in college. That's how good homeschooling is. Well, why can't we do that same principle in the public schools? Well, we could if we didn't have that requirement of teaching things that we don't need to, and then not teaching things we do. Kids they don't even know how to write, Jemai. They are not taught cursive. I was doing penmanship in first grade, for goodness sakes.
So
I went to a third grade class I was teaching, and they couldn't sign their certificates. I was upset.
What happened to the values that we had, say, 25, 30, 50 years ago? Something changed in the life. Do you feel that the last
Oh, absolutely. It's
half a century we
yeah,
have changed?
The
I know
family has been decimated. We've taken God away from.
So how do we bring the family values back?
We
What do
need
we
to
do?
we need to get the federal government out of our lives in those areas that they shouldn't be. We need to get back to the standards of the family. We need to get back, obviously, to the Constitution. If we do that, it'll be amazing. You know, we have so much resources in the United States. We could take care of the world. Right here in New Mexico, we have enough oil and natural gas to take care of the United States. And we're pumping a lot, but not like we should.
Correct.
You go to North Dakota, their unemployment's 2%.
They're
They have their
growing.
own state bank. And I'm from North Dakota, and they still farm up there. So they've proven that if you turn the free market loose and get the government out of your lives, you can succeed. Now, that was a hard nut for them to crack, don't get me wrong. But we need we need governors in the states to say, you know what, let's put our resources to work. You know, the Keystone Pipeline is a big political ball that's been bouncing
Are you for
back
that?
and forth. You know,
Good
let's
idea.
talk about this.
Okay.
Personally, the pipeline itself will create jobs while they're building it, but we're taking foreign oil and pumping it all the way down to the Gulf Coast.
Correct.
We're going through states that have all this.
And then it goes overseas
and
for
then it goes
refineries and stuff.
and
It
I'm
doesn't even
thinking,
belong here.
who does it benefit? Because it's foreign oil, it's Canadian oil.
Correct.
So my theory is, why not do both? Why not have that? And why not drill oil in New Mexico and Kansas and Iowa? Why not do that? And then, because we're still relying on foreign oil. So the Keystone Pipeline, it's an expensive endeavor. And who does it really benefit? That oil is going to get pumped out the other end, and it's going to be sold back to us and to foreign countries.
But you know what the environmentalists, they say they have a huge effect on the natural
we've
water
got
and stuff like
pipelines
that.
all over the
So
whole
that's not gonna
United
affect
It is
anything.
not. The new pipelines are, they're almost leak-proof, all pipelines.
Correct.
But
Yeah,
they're
'cause the
almost,
technology changed quite a bit.
technologies, if that pipeline goes in, you won't even know it's there.
So you're basically saying that since it's foreign, why do we need to?
That's
bother
my
with it? 'Cause
theory. So why are we doing that? Yes, when we have it right here, why not do
the
that?
short term will create jobs in the long term, you're saying.
Yeah,
it's
the
not
short
gonna-
term, but in the long term, who's going to benefit? Well, it's going to benefit Canada.
Correct, yeah, and naturally they're saying, well, we could sell it to China, we could sell it to somebody else, you guys know. And reality is we don't get that oil. I don't know, most people don't know
No,
that.
we
It
don't.
goes,
That's
it goes
correct.
directly to Saudi Arabia, and places like that, it gets refined
Goes to
there.
the Gulf Coast,
Correct,
refined,
yeah.
and it's gone. We may get a portion of that,
Yeah.
but we're going to have to pay for it.
Correct.
And of course, my theory is, well, gee, why don't we drill our own and do our own? Then we don't have to.
New Mexico has a lot of natural gas. The prices have tanked and came down to $4, I think, for cubic feet for natural gas. Oil, we're benefiting from oil. Do you think that, I know that puts about 35 to 40% in our coffers there as far as the revenue goes. 40% of our budget relies on oil and gas. That comes into education and things like that.
Well, we run on energy and oil and coal and so on. Those are the things we need. You know, we have the best coal here in New Mexico in the world. It's clean, it's good coal, and it kind of sits there. And we have natural gas under us that could probably take care of the United States, and it's inexpensive. But have you noticed that the oil prices go down, but the gas prices at the gas pumps don't seem to reflect that? That's bothersome to me.
And that's
Why
all
is that?
because, well, it's because there's speculators out there.
Yeah.
They're trying to raise the prices.
Yeah, they have this. They're in it. You know, oil's gold. They say. You know, just like water here in New Mexico.
Oh, personally, I think the future is on water. I think mostly dealing with water. Oil, I think, will stay that
Properly
way.
managed, yes, correct.
I think all the future wars will be fought in water.
You can't
you
make
agree
any
with-
argument from me on that.
Let me take a short break.
Sure.
We'll come back. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Okay.